Vamos a hablar de defectos. Tú tienes más defectos porque tú eres muy egoísta. Yo voy donde Pedrito a compartir contigo, estar contigo, alegre que tú me invitaste, etcétera. Y te digo, mira, tú hueles mal y no tienes la cortesía ni de irte a duchar. Cuando viniste aquí lo mismo. Si te digo, Daniel, vamos a dar una vuelta, ponte guapo. ¿Cuál es el deber de un hombre? Bañarse, ponerse oloroso, por lo menos normal. Si no quiero usar perfume no pasa nada, pero por lo menos que huela normal. Y nada de eso, tú la cosa solamente ves lo del otro. Que estábamos relajando donde Miguel, bromeando en alcohol, eso fue lo más grande, eso son excusas. Que tú no quieras estar conmigo, esa es tu cosa, pero no vengas a buscar excusa tonta, porque si yo me pongo a buscar defecto en ti, yo encuentro quizás más que tú en mí, porque yo me puedo adaptar a la persona. Porque yo ese día, tú sabes que no soy amante de donde hay perros y esa sociedad con la que tú te involucras. Y como quiera yo, para hacerte sentir bien a ti, fui.
My name is Anita Jansen, but people call me Annie, or the rode reporter, which is called the red reporter. I'm from the slums in The Hague. We are in Ruigoord at the moment. Village was squatted in 1973. So this year we celebrate our 50th anniversary. It's a very special place actually, where a lot of artists are living. Actually, it's not living because you're not allowed to live here. You can sleep here, but not live here.
Really?
Since 2000, yeah. The first time I came to Ruigoord was in 1992. It's like a community, it's like an extended family actually. Okay. For me, they're writers, they're artists, they're performers, they're musicians, they're builders, they're dreamers. There are people involved with the environment, there are people taking care of the green. Actually, it's a really weird place because it's in the middle of an industrial space, like 10 kilometers from Amsterdam. I was a musician. I play percussion and vocals. And I met a guy during a jam session, and his name is Lucas Amor. And he was like a bohemian violin player, wild guy, crazy ideas. And I met him, he said, oh, tomorrow I'm playing in Belgium. Are you joining me? I said, oh, that's nice. Let's go.
Wow.
And that's how our friendship and our musical things got combined. But it was also, he was a very rough, heavy guy. Drinking a lot and all the other things. So I was in the band for like 4 or 5 years. So we traveled a lot to France, to Spain, to whatever. Played many performances. And the band was called La Vie en Rose. And he liked women, so there were a lot of women in the band.
Okay.
But also a lot of fights. I broke up with him. I didn't speak with him because I was so... We had so many things. We made a lot of CDs as well. So I didn't see him for like 10 years. I thought, no, I'm not a kind of person who wants to be angry forever with somebody.
Yeah.
So I went to a concert of him and he was very like, oh. And we spoke and then we got to see each other again. And he said, oh, you have to come in the band again. I said, no. That's not my goal. He passed away in 2018 because he was only 63, but he lived like he was 126. Since the 12th century,
wow.
It's already existing, and it was an island, in the middle of water. Dutch people are very famous of gaining land from the water, and that's what they did here as well. We have a huge harbor in Holland, which is called the Rotterdam Harbor. But they want to have a harbor in Amsterdam as well. There was a small harbor in Amsterdam. And they thought, well, let's make this a huge industrialized piece of land in the 70s. And what they did, they bought out all the farmers and they want to get rid of this village. They gave the farmers money to move. But there were a couple of people in Amsterdam, writers, they thought, hey, there are some homes empty at the moment. let's do a squatting session. So they went here, and there was the church, of course, which was still the guy who did it in the church. He was living together with a woman, with his maid, and I don't know if they had a relationship or not. But there's still pictures of 1973 that the church was packed with people, but the government wanted everybody to leave. So the pastor said, "I'm gonna quit my job," and he gave officially the key to the squatters. And he said, it's now no longer a place of God, it's a place where you can do whatever you like. And that's what we do as well. We give parties, but we also do funerals, we give rituals, ceremonies, marriage, yeah. So everything is passing by here. So there's a lot of energy gathered in that church. It's really nice, really nice. Free concerts also for people who don't have too much money, like classical concerts, spoken word, dance, well, you name it, we have it. We are very spoiled. I've seen the most amazing things here. That's actually what a church should be. Maybe a house of God, but also bring people together. And not to raise your finger and say, no, don't do this, but just celebrate things, celebrate life. And that's what we do here in Ruigoord. We celebrate life. We hope that people find it as magical as we try to feel it and try to make it. The church used to be white. It was always changing all the time. And that was really a nice thing, because every party, every funeral, every whatever, it was different. But then for 50 years of Ruigoord, they came up with the idea to paint the church inside. And in the beginning I was, no, that's such a pity, because then you really get stuck by those images. But now I changed my mind, because it's really nice, I think. And it's really like, it became more like a monument. And every time you have a party, we are so creative that we can still change the church with lights, with VJs, and so it's still every time different. And it looks like, when it was white, it felt always a little bit small. And now it's painted, it looks big to me, bigger. Like it it's growing. This is actually a small Ruigoord, because when I came here it was huge. The harbor wasn't there, so you could swim there. So it was, and people made their own. They lived in a tipi or a yurt, or they made their own homes, and so it was a wild but also rough time, because hardly any heating in the houses. And in 2000 it changed, because people were not allowed to live here anymore. And there was a lot of trends and a lot of well, people who like it, but there was a certain atmosphere. And then they built some new ateliers, some new people came in, and then slowly it changed. And now it's like everybody is full on. Making things, investing, doing things for the village, working with the green. Here you can make magic happen. So we did, and
what did you do?
we just applied with a very small note, actually, with three sentences. We said, oh, we can be of very much value for the village. And then we got a reply back in 3 months or something, and they said, oh, yeah, there's a house free, and maybe, but at that moment we were in India, and if I'm talking about we, it's my ex-girlfriend Tosca, Anita and me, and we were working for a huge newspaper, and we wanted to go with the boat from the top of the Himalaya till the end of Ganges, and because I read a book of somebody, and I said, oh, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna buy a boat, and then we're gonna go all the way down. Well, there was a guy in the 50s who went with his wife, and there was also some pictures with it, and that wife was dressed all in white with a nice hat, and I thought, oh, that's romantic. But 50 or 60 years later, it was a little bit different.
Okay.
And also in India, you can't organize anything as a woman. We started to travel in 2003 and we went to... So I was always filming and Tosca is an actress and she was very well known as Theo and Thea. And television programs said, oh, maybe you can do something. So we did it ourselves. And you know George Orwell?
Yeah.
He wrote his first novel over there, Burmese Days.
Okay.
And nothing changed when we came. So everything he wrote in the 30s of the last century was still there. So it was really magical to be there actually. And we also wrote that book while we were there. And the club was still there, the tennis court was still there. So we did a virtual tennis game there. And those English people, they really were so bored and it was so corrupt over there. So they had a whiskey tennis club, but it didn't have ice. So every 2 weeks, a ship came from Yangon to Qatar with a huge mountain of ice for their whiskey. I mean, that's crazy. And also we went with the Burmese railroads, where a lot of people were killed. I wanted to go to Myanmar because I saw in a magazine a picture of Bagan. It's very beautiful. There are like 500 temples over there. Every morning when the sun is coming up, there's the air balloons are coming up, and they're the red-brown air balloons. But the downside is that they removed all the farmers from that place. It's a really weird country, of course, with the military things. But we did some stupid things because we made that little movies, and Aung San Suu Kyi, the woman who was running for president, she was in house. They kept her in house. So we said, oh, we're gonna go with a hidden camera and we're gonna ask who's doing the shopping for her, which was, I mean, it's crazy because actually it's very dangerous to do things like that, you know. We were really watched and I thought, oh, this is not a good thing to do, you know. It was really, really naive. We went to Mexico, to Egypt, to whatever. And at a certain moment I said to Tosca, I don't want to travel anymore without getting paid. And then actually in 2009, we went walking. And we walked the Camino from Pamplona to Santiago. I love being in churches. Okay. And I think God is in the details. It's in everybody, inside, like the universe. And then we were in Pamplona and it was 7 degrees. And she said, oh no, we're going to freeze to death in the mountains. We're not going to do it. But then we met a Canadian guy. He said, you girls, you're from Holland, eh? Yeah, you have windmills over there. He said, yeah, we have windmills. He said, there's so many windmills on that mountain. Why should you bother to go there? And we were like, yeah, he's right. We're going to take the bus. So we went to the station, and the bus just left. and then we had to wait for 4 more hours. And I thought, that's a little bit long, so now let's give it a try. So we started to walk, and we never stopped. And all those people you meet, which you normally would ignore, is also very interesting actually. It's heavy, but it's also a nice way to see the world by foot, because every ant, every plant, you see everything. And actually you think you have a wide view, but actually it's very narrow. Because you have to watch out that you don't fall down. Really weird. It's a weird way of traveling. You don't cut it too short, eh? That's good. I broke my ankle in the Corona period, and so I was sitting on the couch and I thought I can make a podcast about plants. Well, it's nice to pick every week one plant. And I made 50 podcasts, 50 different plants. And I wanted to make this porch like you're stepping into another world. I told you about all the people who squatted and people who are important for Ruigoord or has a special connection with it or did special things in Ruigoord. And I want to honor them because it's nice that people will be not forgotten, you know. And I thought I'm gonna make the VVV, and that's the Vereniging voor Voorouderverering. Yeah, the company of the elderly to be remembered. And VVV in Holland is the place where you can go if you want to have tourist information. So it's a little joke as well. It's not my term, it's the term of Theo Klei and Ginny. And Theo Klei was the guy with the green moustache. And every time you met him, he was like, hoi pipeloi, green relaxes you. And he was a guy who went to Yoko Ono and John Lennon when they stayed here in Amsterdam in the 60s in the Hilton Hotel. And they had the Exotisch Kitsch Conservatorium. I can't translate that for you, but they were making music there with funny faces. And Yoko Ono and John Lennon were laying in that bed, and they were with signs, we want to have peace all over the world, because the Vietnam War was at that time, you know? It was so he passed away last October, Theo Klei. He was 85. And 2 months before he died, I went to him, I said, I want to make this VVV. And I explained what I wanted to do, and then he was looking at me, and it was early in the morning, and he said to me, "Now, so what? It's your idea. Should we drink wine now?" So at special occasions, projects, all the people who passed away, who were special, they come from another dimension, and they are projected on that stone. Yeah, at the moment I'm making a documentary about a woman who is snorkeling in the canals.
Okay.
And she's taking care of the environment and trying to make things better in the canals.
Yeah.
And she's snorkeling all the time. And she has a special connection with fishes.
Yes.
And if I sit with her or talk with her, and we're sitting next to the canal, and she's like, oh, wait a second, there's Gigi passing by. And I said, Gigi who? And that's a fish, and she has a special connection with the fish.
You put the
And
names
it she gives her names.
Commentary from the nomad from Amsterdam. Can you talk about this?
Actually, they have to move every 2 years. They just have a little piece of land. Well, the government gives water, and they build their own toilets, and actually it's a really rough place. That's how I look at it, because I travel a lot, and I went also to the slums in India and in Africa, and it reminded me of that. There are a lot of people who collect a lot of stuff, and I thought, wow, how can you live like that? But I knew one guy. He was always doing the parking service here, and I was really good with him. I said, I actually want to make a documentary about it, and he said, can you introduce me to some people? So I had an introduction, which was nice, and not everybody wanted to talk with me, but it was and there's a lot of drugs abuse as well, but there are also people who are eco-nomads but I didn't want to make a movie about drugs because that's too easy, I thought. And I thought they have to move every 2 years, and they still are attached to the place, even though it's a mess, and even though it's their place, and they can do whatever they like, and that's also a way of looking at it. So I followed them for a year during that they had to move, and talking about what the place meant for them, and how it was to live there, and the guy who introduced me, he OD'd himself. And the last conversation I had with him, I said to him, how do you see? Yeah, okay, and also about the drug use. For them it was like very normal to use like almost every day, you know. But so they have a completely different perspective on things actually, and they're so antisocial that for them it's not possible to live in a house or live in a street, or a couple of people. Those people are really actually happy in the mess they're living in, and that's what I wanted to show actually. I think the biggest compliment I got was from themselves, because they really felt that I saw them the way they were. Doesn't matter if they're rich, poor, or junk, or doesn't matter to me. Because everybody has his dreams, everybody wants to have a place. I think everybody wants to be happy in a certain way, you know. For me, that was the most important thing to show. Well, actually, the Amsterdam Balloon Company, you're also a member. You don't know, but you're everybody's a member. You're a member too.
Okay.
And if you don't want to be a member anymore, it's a pity for you, because what else? And the magic bus always traveled in the 70s and the 60s from Amsterdam to India. And the magic bus, they got it as a gift. They gave it to Ruigoord. But nobody has a huge driver's license, so nobody could do it, to drive. And then then some people got their driver's license and then the idea came up to go and travel with it. But yeah, well, there were some writers, but there were also people who were not artists. So they bought a trick, the disappearing woman. And then the same Lucas went on their travels as well, and they said, oh, you have to have your tambourine like this, and then they started to make music, put on funny faces, did some, So they went with a huge group, and they did a couple of travels to Tibet, to Morocco, to India, but I wasn't there by that time, so I have it just from hearing. But the funny thing somebody told me was like, if you travel together in a group, it sounds really nice, but he has a morning sickness, that guy wants to be, I don't know, you know, that one drinks too much, that one. So there were also quarrels, of course, between them. And then there was that thing, they said, okay, but we're gonna talk about the quarrels only with full moon. But then you were already forgotten that you were pissed off, of course. So it was a nice idea, actually. Yeah. But they started off with a huge group, and in the end, when they came to India, there were only 2 people left. Everybody was gone. And they were kind of some sort of stuck in India. And I don't know, but well, they had some really magical times with that bus. It was theater, but there was also a bar, you know, it was standing in the end of the village when there was a bar. And the bus is a British Leland, and it's from, British Leland from 1958, something like that. So it was really worn out, torn out. So we had a huge barn over there, and they rebuilt it for like 4 years with so much effort, so much work, money, to make it very nice again. And then 2.5 years ago there was a huge fire over there. So it was just finished, and then everything was gone. The bus was gone. It's still over there on the end, just a small part of it. The bus was gone. There was another bus from another company, which is called the DAF, the Dutch Asset Family, was also standing there. A lot of decor for theater pieces. Everything was gone. So we did a huge crowdfunding, and in 5 days we had 100,000 euros, which was nice. So we bought a bus back, and we painted it also with the blue and white. Yeah, there was a huge project which is called the Toren of Babel, and it was made of wood, and people lived in that thing as well. And at at 2000, like from 1999 to 2000, they set it on fire to get into a new millennium. And it was really, it was really an amazing thing. We did a lot of amazing things here, and still do. It's inspiration, it's different than the rest of the world. It's also nice to show people that you can do it in a different way. and that you're not stuck to the 9-to-5 mentality and being a slave of the banks and being a slave of a mortgage for your house. And if you're free, then your creativity can flow. It's a wise advice from an old woman.
Correct?
It's a wise advice from an old woman.